This is Gemara Baba Kama Daf Lamid Bees, and today's shir has been sponsored by a close friend. It's a schos for Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael and Asunu Basar of Ashivya B'Siyata D'Shmaya. The schos HaTorah should bring only Yeshua's Nechamais for God's Klal Yisrael. We pick it up in the Mishnah on the bottom of Lamid Aleph Amid Bees. The Mishnah continuing the theme of different damages, but more particularly two people in Rosh Hashanah as one relates to the other when one damages the other. And here we go. One guy's walking in the street with his barrel, another guy is walking with his beam. Nishbra kadai shel zeh b'kairasai shel zeh. This one's kad, this one's a jug, is broken by the other guy's beam. We can visualize one guy walking with a long beam. Guy in front of him is walking with a barrel, and the two collide, and one breaks the other. So says the Mishnah, what's the halacha? If nishra kadosh shel zeh b'karasa shel zeh, potter, the person with the beam is potter. Why? Pour in line, shel zeh rishos lahalich, v'zeh l'rishos lahalich. Pour in line all the way ad halacha lemaisa. They both have rishos to be there, and therefore there's no chiyuv for damages. But continues the Mishnah case number 2. The Baal Kair was first, and the Baal Chavis is behind him. And now Nisha Chavis Bekaira again. Pata Baal Kair. This is that the guy in the back sped up a little bit, bumped into the guy in the front. The guy in the front is Pater. He did not do anything. We move over to Lamed Beis Amud Aleph. Continues the Mishnah. V'imamad balakaira. But what happens if the balakaira stops? It's not that the guy behind sped up. The guy in front pulled a short stop. Then chayiv, then he is obligated. However, if when he stops, v'imamar balachavis amoid, stop, Potter, then the balakaira is going to be Potter. Haya bal chavis rishain ubal kairach. Right now we have the flip side case. Nishba chavis bekairach chayiv. So now if this case the guy in back sped up and knocked into the barrel and broke it, then he is obligated. But if he stopped, then Potter, the guy behind is going to be Potter. However, v'mavar bal kairei amoid libal kairei amoid. If the guy in front is stopping the bal chavis and he tells the bal kairei to stop and he does not, then chayiv, then, excuse me one more time, the mamar the Baal Kairi, but he said to the Baal Kairi, again the Baal Chavis is first, Baal Kairi is behind, so again the guy with the beam is in the back, and the guy in the front is stopping, so he yells back, please stop, and he does it. Chayiv, then the Baal Kairi is chayiv. V'chein, and similarly, Zeba b'nei roi, v'zeba b'pishtanai. So begins the Gemara with a shayla which we're going to try to utilize our Mishnah to answer this question. Ba'i minei Rabba bar Nasan miravuna. Hamaziges ishtai bitash v'shamita mahu. What happens if one damages his wife via an act of intercourse through tash v'shamita? What is the din? Says the Gemara, what does this have to do with our Mishnah? So let's understand the Sadim. Do we say, Kivin Dibrishos Kavid, the act was consensual, their husband and wife, therefore Potter, therefore even though there's a resulting damage, which of course shouldn't have happened, but it did, then he's Potter. Or maybe we say, no, he should have been more careful and he wasn't. So says the Gemara, let's bring a raya from our Mishnah. Amar leitini tua the Mishnah said they both have rishos to be there, and even though they both have rishos to be there, what do we see? Says the Mishnah, therefore you're Potter. So says the Gemara, we should say the same thing, since they both have rishos to be there. Therefore, he should be Potter. Says the Gemara, Amar Rava, no. That was Rav Huna. Amar Rava, Kavachaymer, I'll tell you Kavachaymer. Oh my yash, there's just nichnas. When it comes to a forest, the quintessential case of killing someone b'shayik, they're both in a forest, and the acts that shoots off and kills the other person, what's the halacha? Still, we make it nase kemi shenichnas rishus chaveroi v'chayiv, and one is obligated for that which he did. So zeh, in this case, he's entering into the other's rishos. The husband's entering into the wife. Like kol shekain. So asks Rava, the husband should be chayiv. Ella, so rather, says the Gemara, I'll tell you what the case is comparable. I asked the Gemara, Ella asks the Gemara, what do we do with the Mishnah? Very nice, you're telling me from the case of the Yar, you should be chayiv, but our Mishnah seems to imply clearly you should be pater. Says the Gemara, Hasam tarvayu kadodi ninu, whereas Hacha ihu kavin maisa. Says the Gemara, in the Mishnah, they're both equal. Since they're both equal, that's the reason why there's a patur. But in our case, the husband is one doing the action, and therefore, says the Gemara, the husband should be obligated. V'hi and she is not doing a ma'isa. Asks the Gemara of Aksev, what do we do with the pasuk that says, says the Gemara that whenever a woman is mizaneh, that she and the husband get kares, she and the bayal, But what do we see? We see she is considered as if she did a ma'isa. Answers the Gemara, no. But ihu ma'isa utkavit. She's chayiv. Why? Because she got hana. However, says the Gemara, is it considered that she did a ma'isa? No. And that's the reason why the case will be different. And in our case, he will be obligated, as it is not the same thing as the case of the Mishnah. Why not? Because in the Mishnah, they both had rishos. As in this case of one damaging his wife during Tashmish Hamita, he only did the Maisa and she did not. We continue on the second wide line, the two dots, about Kairi Rishain. The next case of the Mishnah where the beam is first. Amar Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish says, let's bring down a case which is very similar to our Mishnah. We'll try to compare one to the other, prove the din, etc. Shtei parois. We have two cows. Vershus Rabbin. Achas revutza v'achas mahaleches. One cow is squatting. One cow is walking. So what's the din when one damages the other? But mahaleches beravutza. If the one that is walking kicks the one that is squatting, ptura. But the opposite, revutza b'mahaleches. The one that is squatting kicks the one that is walking, chayevs. So again, we have one animal stationary, one animal walking over here. If the animal that is walking kicks the one that is stationary, it is pater. But if the animal that is squatting kicks the one that is walking, it is chayiv. So now the Gemara wants to say that this din of Reish Lakish is very similar to our Mishnah. We just discussed the case of our Mishnah with the Baal Kairei. The beam guy is first, the barrel guy is behind. Says the Gemara, we can say the same thing. Lema Misayeh, lay from our Mishnah. Hay Baal Kairei, Rishon Baal Chavis Acharoin. Nishbra Chavis Bekaira. And the Chavis breaks into the beam. Potter, the Baal Kairei is Potter, he didn't do anything. But Vimam and the Baal Kairei, then Chayiv. V'hacha suggests the Gemara the Ravutza b'ma'aleches dami. This is similar to the case of the Ravutza, the one that is stationary, damaging the one that is moving. V'katani chayiv, and we see that you are chayiv. So says the Gemara, v'rayim to Reish Lakish. The stationary one damages the moving one. That you are chayiv. Says the Gemara, the obvious point that what's the shaykh? It's v'tizbra. Hasayeh ba'i lo mistayeh, lo misayeh. Says the Gemara, what's going on with Tizbra? Hasayeh abai. Does the one who say this really prove this? Not only is it not a raya, I can ask you a kasha from our Mishnah. Why? Because time of debata, Reish Lakish seemed to say only because he kicked. Potter, but let's say the one who was just sitting in the middle of the street, that animal didn't kick the guy walking, just stood there, and the other one was damaged by him. It would sound like in that case you're Potter. V'hamas Nisan, but in our Mishnah, that's mamish the case. The Memela. The Mishnah's Memela, the Balkairi just standing still, another guy hits it to him, but the Balkairi stopped, and therefore caused the other guy to hit it to him. So says the Gemara, why you bring a raya from our Mishnah? It's a kasha. Retorts the Gemara, what do you mean? That's also not a good raya. Masnisan the paskil orchik is shilda. The Mishnah is talking about where the Balkair, when he stopped, he blocked the road, like we saw yesterday, like a carcass, he's blocking the whole road, and that's why he's chayiv, because the guy had no way to avoid him. In the case of the two parais, he's on one side, he should have went to the other side. Says Gemara, okay, so we have no raya from the first part of the Mishnah. Ela seifa demasnisa misayli reish lakish, just bring a raya from the seifa diktaniya bal chaviz rishon bal kairei acharoin. The flip case, the bal kairei is after the bal chaviz. Mishra chaviz beikaira chayiv. Now, if the chaviz breaks, the bal kairei is chayiv. V'mamad bal hachaviz, but if he stops, then potter, then the Balkari is potter. So that is the case. Here the Balkari is in the back, he's moving, and he damages. Vekatani potter. Only see that im Amad Balchavis, if the guy in the front stops and the guy behind is moving, hits into him, he's potter. Just like Rish Lakish's case, if the squatting guy is stationary and the other animal is walking, kicks him, he's going to be potter. Says the Gemara, no raya. The reason why there's no raya is because the Mishnah is talking about the one with the beam is walking normally, whereas hacha, in the case of the cows, I understand the cow is wishing to walk. Be less lecharashas. But let's not forget, the case wasn't that the animal just walked by and it bumped into him. The animal stopped and kicked him. Who gave you right to kick the other animal? And therefore says the Gemara, no raya from the Mishnah. We continue with the Mishnah towards the bottom half of Lamed Beis of Amud Aleph. Two people are walking Shazarabim. Case number one. Case number two. Echad Ratz v'Echad Malich. One is walking, one is running. Case number three. Shneim Ratzim. Or both of them are running. V'zigu zeh Shneim P'turin. They're both potter in this case. The way we read is Shtigu Machlek is whether the opening statement of Shem Shem Mahalchin is just an opening statement, and there's two cases in the Mishnah, one running, one walking, and both running, or whether there's three different cases. But either way, let's go straight into the Gemara. Says the Gemara, Masnisan, this din in the Mishnah is the like Isi ben Yehuda. This Mishnah does not fit with Isi ben Yehuda. Titan, you're in the right Isi ben Yehuda, Meratz Chayev, Mebnei Shehu Mishona. If one is running, he's obligated. You're not supposed to be running in the street. Why? Because that's a Mishana. But Umaydi Isi ben Yehuda, Erev Shabbos in a Shabbat Pater. Erev Shabbos, one would be Pater if he's running. Why? You're allowed to run on Erev Shabbos. Amar Rav Yechanan, halacha Isi ben Yehuda. Ask the Gemara, really? Me, Rav Yechanan, halachiv, Amar Rav Yechanan, halacha is a Mishnah. Utinana, what do we learn in our Mishnah? Echad Ra, Tzach Ma'alech, Hashdei, Mrata, B'turin. So what do we see? We see clearly the Mishnah says that you're Pater from running. Says the Gemara, Masnisen, Erev Shabbos, B'nashma Shais. Now the Gemara proves this mimai, but the Tanya Sheish Neim Ratzim Turim. Hasul Amali. Hashtag Ratzim Alech Pater Neim Ratzim Ibai. If in the case where one running, one walking, he's Pater. So that means that there's a Ptur when running. So when they're both running, certainly. Alachi Kamar Echad Ratz. The Echad Mahalech is Pater. Says the Gemara. One running, one going is Pater. B'med Varmun Be'erev Shabbos in Hashema Shais. Avol b'chol echorevas v'alechayiv shneim ratzah afilu b'chol would be potter. So that's how we explain the Mishnah. Amar Mar. We finish off this part of the shir. Moedis be and Shavi and Shemashais shu potter. Why they shu ratz bershus? Ask the Gemara in the last line of Lamed Beis Amanal Erev Shabbos my bershus ika k'derav Chanina. The Amar Rav Chanina, as Rav Chanina says, as we turn over to Lamed Beis Amid Beis Ba'i v'neitzei. Let us go out. Likras Kala Malkusa to greet the Shabbos. V'amra Likras Shabbos Kala Malkusa. Rav Yanai Misatev v'koiv Rabbi Kala Rav Yanai didn't just go out. Rav Yanai would put on his talis wait and greet the Shabbos Malkusa with the words Boi Kala, Boi Kala. And with that, we continue with the Mishnah on Lamed Beis Amid Beis. The Mishnah sort of changing topics, the same topic of damages, but now the Mishnah is where A is damaging B. Let's see. Not that they're both walking. Someone who's chopping wood in the street, vehizik, and what happens? Something shoots off and he does damage to Shus Yachid. Or Rishus Yachid, he's chopping wood in Shus Yachid, vehizik, Rishus Rabbim. Or so three cases, says the Mishnah, that one does damages from part of A to B, and he's chayiv. We have Rishus Rabim, Rishus Yachid. Excuse me, we have Rishus Yachid, Rishus Yachid, Rishus Rabim, Rishus Yachid, Rishus Yachid. So classically, says the Gemara, why do we need three cases in the Mishnah? Utricha, says the Gemara, all three cases are necessary. Why? If we said case number 2 versus the Yachid Rabim, I would have thought Mishas Rabim. Mishas Rabim is normal to have people there. Avol Mishas Rabim, Mishas Yachid, L'Shchichi Rabim, Eimaloi. V'Tana Mishas Rabim, Mishas Yachid. If it only said the first case, I would have thought Mishas Meikar, Shleiber Shus Avid. You don't have a Rishus to chop wood in Mishas Rabim. Al Mishas Yachid, Mishas Rabim. That what? The Rishus Avid, of course, you have permission to chop wood in your own house. Eimaloi. If it would have said the first two cases, this one shchichi, this one you don't have permission. They have both ma'alazacher to loy shchichi rabim and to make her b'shos emaloi. Sricha, that's where the Mishnah lists all three cases. Now, it is interesting. The Mishnah seemingly could have just listed the third case. We could have learned the others, but the Gemara doesn't go down that road. Tanu Rabbanon. Continues the Gemara with a new case. Hanichnas lechanusai shel nagar. Someone enters into the storehouse of the blacksmith. Shaloi berishos. V'nitza bikas v'tavcha panavu meis. Potter. But v'nichnas berishos chayiv. So two cases. Someone enters into a store and something shoots out and damages him. If he doesn't have permission to be there, then the Baal Chanos is Potter. If he has permission to be there, the Baal Chanos is chayiv. Says the Gemara, my chayiv. Asks the Gemara, what's the reason that he's chayiv? Amaravi Yossi Rachanina chayiv. Excuse me, with what is he chayiv? Chayiv v'dal dvarim. Upater migalos means you're chayiv for damages, but the Baal Chanos, the one who did the damage, doesn't actually have to go to galos. Why? It's not like the quintessential case of galos, which is the forest. That what? Yar zeller shuzanichnas, zeller shuzanichnas. But the yar, they both have permission to be there. However, in our case, even though he had permission, it's Rishus Chaveiroi, and therefore, says the Gemara, there is no galus. Amar Rava says nothing doing. Rava violently disagrees. Says Rava Kal V'chaimer. I'll tell you Kal V'chaimer, the exact opposite. Uma, 4 lines from the white lines. Uma yar zeladayitoi nechnas. V'zeladayitoi nechnas kemisha nechnas l'das Chaveiroi. By the case of Yar, each one went in with Rishos. And we make it as if he entered into his friend's property and he's chayiv. Then our case, Shaladas Chaveroi Nichlas, he had permission to enter into the store. Like Kolshkate, certainly should be chayiv in Galus. Therefore, Ella Amar Rava Noob Shat, says Rava, and what the damage is in the Mishnah are, my Potter Migalos. Rather, says Rava, what's the reason you're potter? Not that you're potter. Golos is a schos. Golos allows you to get a kabara. This guy is not allowed to go to Golos. Why not? By the time there is Rechanina, that what? Misham the Havle Shoygeg Karov Lemezid. It's not a regular Shoygeg that you go to Golos. Here it's a Shoygeg Karov Lemezid. Because you knew he was allowed to be there and you still chopped the wood, so it's Karv Lemezid. That's why you cannot go to Golos. Masiv Rava asks Rava from a Braisa. Haisiv Loi Ritzua Achas. If someone giving Malkus gives an extra Malka, and what happens? Who makes and the guy dies? Harisa Nikla, you go to Golos Al Yadai. I asked the Rava Vachal the Sheigar of Lemezid who Oh, they buy the sugi adaite. They may see inchi v'chader etzua. So shogi kart. The Mezi didn't mean to kill him, but he should have thought about the fact that the extra malchus could potentially kill him. And yeah, we see he goes to Golos. V'katani arizek goyla. Amarav simin ardai. No, the time in yana. Case is not that he purposely gave an extra one. He made a mistake in the counting. Tavach le Rava b'sandale. Rava says, what? He hit him with his shoe. You're telling me that the guy, the one doing the malchus, he made a mistake counting? Amar le atahu money. Is he count at all? He doesn't. Vatani went to the brisa. Gadol shabdayanim kayer v'asheni moina v'ashlishi omer hako. The greatest dayan reads the psukim in the Torah. The second one counts, and the third one says to hit. So how are you telling me that he made a mistake in counting? Elam Rav Simi min Ardai, Tita'a Dayana Gufei. The case is where the Dayan himself made the mistake in counting. Continues the Gemara, Meisvei, is this true? But we have a different case. The case says, Azarek, as Evan, there's just a ram, someone throws a stone, there's just a ram, if someone throws a stone, there's just a ram, and he kills via the act of throwing, or is a goyla. Says the Gemara, the same problem. Says Shagi carved the maze. You should have known there are going to be people walking in the street. Why? So ask the Gemara again on Rava. We see a case of Shagi carved the mazid, and there's still galus. Amar Rav Shmuel Bar Yitzchak no kasha. The case is B'Seiser as Kaisle that he broke down his wall and then it fell into Rosh Hashanah. Says the Gemara, what do you mean he bar Yune? He should have checked to make sure there are no people there. Answers the Gemara B'Seiser Bar he did it at night. He says the Gemara Bar Nami bar Yune should have checked at night as well. B'Seiser as Kaisle B'Yoim Lash, but you did it during the day and you're clearing out the wall into the garbage. Hi Ashba, says the Gemara, if there's people that normally go to this Ashba and Rash says to use the bathroom, Mezidu. So Amar Papa, with this we conclude, they usually come collect the garbage at night. Excuse me, not usually come to collect the garbage. People use it to use the bathroom at night. People don't use it during the day. But there are times and there are times that Lamaisa people come and use it by day as well. Therefore, it's not so common. But why? Because it does happen. And that's the reason why there'll be girls in this case. We'll stop over here. We'll pick it up with Rav Papa the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.